What happened before I was adopted? Maybe it wouldn't hurt to find out. So you finally took the big step and contacted your adoption agency for your files. But they're telling you there's nothing and they can't help you. And then you think, yeah, figures. And you decide to drop it and go back to being a person with no history. After all, if they don't know anything, there must not be anything, right? But how can we be so sure? Because we have hope, we want to believe the best of people and trust them, especially our adoption agencies. After all, we've been told our whole lives how wonderful they are. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a violation of our trust before we can see what's really going on. How do we know our trust is being violated? Answer, that what just happened here feeling, it's called a red flag, and it probably means you've been manipulated. So now you suspect something is rotten. What can you do? If they are real people, you could confront them. But because we're dealing with a huge organization that holds all access to our identity, we know we have to proceed carefully. So we don't undermine our own best interests. It is important to think strategically. Things to keep in mind. Be pleasant. Recognize where you are in the triage process. Be specific in what you ask for. Use logic, watch for fallacies, and ask questions. And most importantly, document, document, document. Let's look at these strategies in depth. Be pleasant. Let them guide you through their process so you can learn how they operate. Let them feel you are moldable as long as possible. If you are pleasant, they may forget themselves and accidentally provide you information. But warning, it's frustration ahead, and don't forget, be prepared to fight for your rights. Public image is terribly important to these adoption agencies, and the best way to control damage is by convincing the adoptee they are your friend, even as they put policy above decency, even as they tell half-truths. They are so eager for you to think they are your savior, especially those who are adoptees themselves. They will even make you promises. These promises are both your tool and, or if unkept, their own undoing. But while you are courting their egos, keep a watchful eye out for their agenda, which is to administer triage to reduce their caseload. Here are my observations of Holt's triage process. Recognizing the triage process. Lowest level, eliminate all those who are abandoned. Instead of helping those with little or no information, the ones who need it the most, and the ones who pose no threat of disrupting anyone's lives, the adoption agency's response is to say, "Sorry, we can't help you." This is a lie. They can help, they just choose not to. Middle level. Eliminate all those who Holt Korea says have no identifying information. Deferring to Holt Korea for an assessment of your file allows them yet another opportunity to discourage those adoptees remaining who haven't already been turned away. Top level. Assist search only for those with identifying information. By writing a policy that Holt International will only provide an assisted search if there is identifying information ensures any effort on Holt's part is limited to cases where success is practically a given, and then they can play hero. Be specific in what you ask for. Holt Korea claims they will give any adoptee any document they ask for specifically, but how can we ask for the name of a document we don't know exists, in a language we don't know? Other people's experiences Now tell us to be sure to ask for these. Your social history in Korean. You've heard of lost in translation, right? Your identity can accidentally or deliberately be obscured or obliterated by a poor translation. You need to obtain the source document and not their translation. Your logbook entry. Any intake documents from Seoul or outlying provinces. The intake documents to your adoption agency, the file Holt Korea has but Holt International doesn't have, often has information left out of your child records and might hold clues as to your pre-adoption agency history. It's critical information, and they won't give it to you unless you ask for it specifically. All the while, Holt International can claim they've given you everything they have. This is why the separation of entities as a multinational corporation can be used to both hide past misdeeds and frustrate the efforts of pesky adult adoptees seeking information about their own history. Use logic, watch for fallacies, and ask questions. Here's one example from my own case at the middle level in triage. Holt International said, "As promised, we have requested an assessment of your file from our overseas partner to determine if a search for your birth family is possible. Unfortunately, the staff of Holt Children's Services of Korea was unable to locate enough information regarding your background to begin a search for your birth family. The record states that you were found without any identifying information. We regret that Holt Children's Services Korea and Holt International Children's Services cannot assist you in a search, but we'll be happy to help you plan an independent search." Don't they make it sound so final? Sounds like the end of the trail, right? Nope, it was just the beginning, because I was paying attention. As promised, we have requested an assessment of your file from our overseas partner to determine if a search for birth family is possible. Time to start asking some questions. What is an assessment? What is its criteria? What is this overseas partner business? Unfortunately, the staff of Holt Children's Services of Korea was unable to locate enough information regarding your background to begin a search for your birth family. What? What happened to Holt International Children's Services? Why are they going through the effort of locating more information when Holt International told me they had all the same records as in Korea? The record states that you were found without any identifying information. What record? None of the records in my file say anything about me being found without any identifying information. Wait a minute. What are they looking at? It was at this point that I asked for the records they were looking at. I was told by Holt International that they'd given me all the records that they had. I told them that clearly I hadn't been given anything from Korea, and they told me it was just a logbook entry, nothing important. Clearly, they wanted my search to end here. What were they looking at?